Women's basketball, women's sports really, but women's basketball had it on the rise. And it's kind of like what Magic and Bird was to men's basketball. Like this moment, we kind of needed something.
This is
to
that
just
moment.
Yeah, and Kate was that moment. And I think a lot of it has to do with her logo.
Think about how good you are. The league you rescued turns on you. Caitlin Clark is more than merely a celebrity. She is the one that launched a revolution in the WNBA. But instead of appreciation, she's receiving tech fouls, scathing headlines, and no response from the top. A prominent individual named Subbird is now breaking that silence. You need to know what she found out.
And in my experience, that is the rule.
Yeah.
That's not the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And it feels like the narratives that have gotten formed in our league, it's like the exception to the rule gets spun as if it's the rule.
Yeah.
It's like the small little thing that happens gets
Turns into
taken as
something
if
big.
it's always happening, right?
Yeah.
Like one person might not like somebody, now the whole league doesn't like somebody. You know, you get it.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that, mainly because that has been my experience.
Let's start with the podcast that blew the roof off. Sue Bird. Yeah. The four-time WNBA champion, Olympic gold medalist, and all-around terrific person detonated a truth bomb on her Bird's View podcast. Instead of thanking Caitlin Clark for busting records and introducing millions of new fans to the game, she made a hard left. She talked about something deeper, something disturbing. She stated WNBA PR officials were purposely downplaying Clark's accomplishments. Real League documents urged broadcasters to decrease Caitlin's segments and instead emphasize on league-wide topics. That's insane. Now ask yourself, why would a league that's rising in popularity because of one rookie want to dim her light? Sue contrasted that to her own first GA where veterans helped her up, not held her down. And the way she said it, you could sense the displeasure. This wasn't hostility, it was disappointment. And when someone like Sue Bird speaks out, you know it's not just noise, it's a warning. So, what specifically is going on here? Here's when things start to become uncomfortable. Sue recounted of a behind-the-scenes WNBA meeting where a top exec literally asked, "Can we use the race angle to boost mid-season ratings?" That's not merely lousy PR, that's playing with fire. Instead of just allowing Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese shine for their talent, the league obviously sought to establish a narrative, black versus white, roughness against beauty. And it wasn't subtle. There was an actual paper circulating around titled Racial Arc Plot Techniques. It incorporates elements like deploying split-screen pictures of Clark and Rhea with captions like ice versus grit, basically turning their skin tone and play style into a media hook. But here's the thing. Caitlin and Angel didn't ask for that. Reese even tweeted, "I'm here to play basketball, not be a prop in a racial narrative." Clark echoed the same. "We're athletes first." This wasn't empowering. It was exploitation. And you could feel it. Fans grew outraged. Players got uncomfortable. And the media, they ran with it nevertheless. So, who actually profits from this sort of drama? Because it shows us hell wasn't the players. Let's chat about the technical fouls. Caitlin Clark gets punished for assault after striking the backboard in exasperation on May 18th. That's it. No shouting, no tossing items, just a gentle touch. Meanwhile, Diana Taurasi physically raged at a ref, tossed her warm-up jacket across the court and still didn't get booted. No tech, just a warning. What are we doing here? Fans noticed. Social media blew up with side-by-side clips. Same deeds, different emotions. Then came the leaks. Referees supposedly obtained a paper on May 10th explicitly saying rookies like Clark should be examined for unsportsmanlike conduct. Basically, ref them harder. Imagine being a 22-year-old teenager carrying the weight of the league. And every time you show a little fire, boom, tet up. That's not discipline. That's targeting. And if that's happening to Caitlin Clark, someone with great media backing, what's happening to other rookies we don't hear about? Makes you ask who's actually directing the choices, and why they're so terrified of allowing a young person simply be fantastic. Caitlin Clark supporters are omnipresent and they're loyal. We're talking full arenas, number 22 jerseys flying off shelves, and school students rushing in simply to see her perform. She brought in new energy, new faces, new money. And how did the league respond? Instead of saying thank you, they started calling her fans ugly. Yeah, some trolls online crossed the line, but when does that ever not happen? Rather than confronting bigotry or hate speech, the WNBA advised players to shun social media. That's not leadership, that's avoidance. Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe weren't having it. On their broadcast, Rapinoe observed, "You can't wish racism away. You confront it." Bird said, "The WNBA has always been about community, so why are we ghosting that community now?" Meanwhile, Clark kept doing her thing, signing autographs, turning up for the fans, and never casting shade. So, here's the question. When did enthusiasm become a threat? Let's talk about money. On April 20th, the WNBA secured a big 10-year, $2 billion pact with ESPN and Amazon. That's about quadruple their former deal. And you already know why. Caitlin Clark. She's the reason ratings are up 240%. The reason ticket sales jumped 85%. The reason jersey sales topped $25 million in only a few months. She's not just a player, she's a brand, a movement. And yet, they still fought to hold her back. A leaked internal memo named Safe versus Star Power lay it out. Option A, go all in on Clark. Option B, mix in drama, rivalries, and balance the exposure. Why? Because they were frightened of making it too much about her. But how can you improve the league without respecting your biggest draw? You don't dim LeBron. You don't underestimate Serena. You lean in. So why is the WNBA being scared? What followed next was awful and predictable. Instead of leaning into Clark's brilliance, the league leaned into the strife. Every nasty insult turned into a headline. Every technical infringement turned into a viral clip. Every tiny scuffle became Caitlin versus the world. The game-winning shots, the record-breaking assists, barely a word. Why? Because controversy clicks. But clicks don't build loyalty. And the crowd started notice. A poll of WNBA season ticket holders found 42% thought that the league was using controversy to sell tickets. Even sponsors started pulling back. Some postponed Caitlin-targeted advertising because they didn't want to be part of the debate. Think about that. The most interesting rookie in years being sidelined by spin. All because somebody decided drama was better than dominance. Now, here's where it becomes even more genuine. A leaked audio from a May 15th executive meeting illustrates just how fractured the league is. One exec remarked, "She's our cash cow. We can't conceal her." Another shot back, "Clicks from conflict don't build long-term fans." They were debating about how to market Caitlin Clark. Do you display her abilities or stir up beef? The old school people attempted to keep things balanced, but the new school voices, they saw the wave coming. Here's the truth. You don't get a generational star and treat her like a supporting role. You build around her like Jordan in the 90s, like Steph in the 2010s. Caitlin Clark isn't the problem. She's the blueprint. So why does it feel like they're afraid of their own success? You know who really felt the impact? The players themselves are the ones in the limelight and the ones observing from the bench. Angel Reese didn't ask to be cast as the villain. Caitlin Clark didn't ask to be presented as a hero. They never auditioned for a rivalry. They merely wanted to play the game they love, compete at the top level, and gain respect. But the league spin machine selected differently. It started presenting their stories like it was a scripted drama series complete with good people, evil individuals, and media-fueled suspense that didn't fit reality. Rhea went on record declaring, "I'm not here to be a character in a competition. I'm here to play." Clark mirrored the same maturity and grace. "I admire all my opponents. I'm simply focused on my game." That's not just professionalism, and that's leadership. That's precisely the sort of example young fans should be observing. Athletes concentrate on their skill, not manufacture feuds. But what did the league do instead? They stoked the fire. They pushed narratives that attracted headlines, but misunderstand the heart of the game. Instead of presenting the truth that both women have breakthrough skills, rewriting the future, they fostered conflict and divisiveness. And that's not only unfair, it's lazy narrative. It transforms elite sportsmen into objects, into story devices, into headlines instead of heroes. A league that pretends to empower women shouldn't be scripting their positions like it's reality TV. It should be lifting them up, praising who they are and what they genuinely do on the court. Let's bring everything full circle. Sue Bird didn't have to say anything. She's retiring. She's got her rings. She's got her legacy. She's got nothing to prove to anyone. But when she observed the way Caitlin Clark was being handled, muzzled, humiliated, mistreated. Something clicked. She understood this wasn't just about one player anymore. It was about the direction of the league. It was about who gets to shine, who gets supported, and who gets stifled. Her podcast stoked the flame. She didn't merely vent. She dropped facts. She called the issue for what it was. She released the memoranda. She exhibited racism. She exposed politics. She disclosed the folks behind the curtain making the calls and reminded us that silence is complicity. Most of all, she reminded everyone watching what the WNBA was designed to be about. Empowering women, establishing communities, celebrating greatness. Sue's voice wasn't only a personal opinion. It was a lifeline. It provided weight to what fans had been feeling, but didn't have the proof to shout. Suddenly, the doubts, the whispers, the frustration, it all got confirmation that Caitlin Clark isn't just fantastic, she's game-changing. And the league, they've been tiptoeing around her intellect, playing it safe when they should have been establishing a platform that lifts everyone because you don't suppress once-in-a-generation skill. You climb with it. So now the question is, what style of league do we want? One that conceals its brightest stars to avoid ruffling feathers, or one that embraces them, raises them aloft, and dares to expand? Caitlin Clark isn't asking for preferential treatment. She's merely asking for fairness, to be honored for what she achieves, not who she ostensibly represents. It's time for the league to decide. And it's time for us fans, viewers, players, and the media to hold them accountable. Drop a remark, like, share, subscribe, because this moment is greater than basketball. This is about honesty, respect, and making sure the WNBA becomes the league we all know it can.